Hi guys, it's Jess from Honest Fiction and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my October TBR. Alright guys, we have finally hit October. This is one of my absolute favorite reading months of the year. I absolutely love the fall and Halloween. So in October, I prefer to read more like spooky and gothic type books. So I do have a decent amount of fantasy romance on this TBR, but I also have some paranormal romance, some dark gothic type books, and I'm just so excited about all of the books I picked to read this month. So this TBR is rather ambitious. Some of the books are pretty chunky, but I cannot wait. So if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish content. You can also check out my Instagram, Goodreads, and Patreon, all linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about all the books I want to read in October. Alright guys, so first up we have the Legend of Thezmarr Readalong that is taking place on my Patreon. So if you're unfamiliar with my Patreon, I will leave it linked down in the description below. But a few months ago, we started the Throne of Glass read-along, where my patrons and myself all read a book a month, and then we had a live show at the end of every month. So my patrons voted, and they decided the Legend of Thezmarr series will be the next read-along series, so that is starting in October. So the first book is Blood and Steel. So this story is following Althea, I believe is how you pronounce the main character's name. But she knows that she is supposed to perish in 3 years, and all she wants to do is become a warrior. Now, unfortunately, warriors are not allowed to train in her world, so she's been training in secret, and she ends up joining this guard that is supposed to, I believe, like protect the kingdom. And when she gets there, she ends up having a bit of a crush on her very grumpy mentor, and the story progresses from there. Admittedly, I really haven't looked too deeply into this series just because I don't want to be spoiled, but I've had so many friends say they absolutely love this series. It gives Witcher/Bridge Kingdom vibes. I love both of those things, so I think I'm gonna absolutely love this. So please, I hope you guys join us. It should be really, really fun. And next up is my Patreon Fantasy Romance Book Club pick for October. So once again, if you're unfamiliar with my Patreon, every month I will pick 3 different books that my patrons get to vote on. And once a winner is chosen, I will add that book to the Discord where we get to talk about it. And then we'll have a live show, kind of like a book club discussion at the end of the month. So this month, the clear winner was Fear the Flames. And this is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. So I am so excited this is the book that was chosen. So in this story, we are following Eowyn. And after being imprisoned by her father and her dragons stolen from her, Eowyn decides that she is going to get revenge against her father. So she ends up teaming up with one of her father's enemies, I believe his name is Caden, and together they are going to perform this heist to get Eowyn's dragons back, and the story goes from there. I am so pumped for this book. First of all, the book itself is absolutely stunning. I already pre-ordered the audiobook, and this book was published, I think almost 2 years ago as indie, and was recently picked up as traditional. So I know a lot of my friends that read this when it was indie pubbed, and they all gave it 5 stars. So I'm very curious to see how this book might be a little bit different. But honestly, I think it is going to be a 5-star read. So this will be one of the first books I read in October. And next up is a dark fantasy romance that everybody has been messaging me and telling me I need to read immediately. It is A Touch of Gold and Madness. So all I know about this is we are following a princess assassin named Grey who is trying to get revenge on someone who I believe murdered her first love. However, when she goes to get her revenge, she ends up hesitating. And because of this hesitation, she is somehow forced into this treacherous court where she becomes the hunted, and the story goes from there. Once again, I am not sure how accurate that plot synopsis is because I have not read the books, but that is what Goodreads told me. So it sounds really, really good. The only reason I have not read this book yet is I actually started the audiobook, and I am pretty sure the main female narrator is the same one that does From Blood and Ash, because as soon as it started, I thought of Poppy. And I've had this issue in the past with this narrator. I just am so used to her being Poppy that it really, I don't know, it kind of confuses me as I'm reading. So I think I'm gonna follow along with it physically just to help a little bit. But if you've read this, let me know, what did you think? I am so excited to start this. And next up is The North Wind, which is inspired by the tale of Beauty and the Beast and also Hades and Persephone. So it sounds like something I will absolutely love. In this story, we are following Reyne, and her home is being threatened because the magical barrier that protects her home is weakening, and it's called the Shade. So in order to protect the Shade and get it working again, a mortal must marry the North Wind, which is an immortal being that is apparently very scary and deadly. Now, unfortunately, Reyne's younger sister is chosen to marry this immortal being, but Reyne takes it upon herself to offer herself up to marry the North Wind, and the story goes from there. So this book recently came on my radar. I was on a live show with Amanda from Amanda's Booktopia and Clint from Reed's Reader. I will leave both of their channels linked down in the description below. And they were talking about this book, and it just sounded so, so good. So this will be another book I definitely pick up in October. All right, so this next book, if you have read it, please let me know down in the comments if you think it is a book I will enjoy, because I had no idea what the plot synopsis was when I put it on my TBR. I'm just trying to read more of my special editions, and I just read the plot synopsis of this, and I have so many questions. So we have Golden. This is by Shannon. This is the Arcane or Mystic Box Special Edition, but I'm pretty sure it's Arcane. So in this story, we are following a girl who ends up running away in order to escape her very controlling family, who then end up finding her and dragging her back. And because of this, they have a witch curse her to become a golden retriever as punishment, where she is then left at a shelter and essentially abandoned. And she's pretty much given up hope until her mate ends up finding her. And I think she has to convince her mate that she's not a golden retriever or something to that extent. And it sounds absolutely wild, but I am very intrigued. So this is another book I plan on reading in October, but once again, let me know if you've read this. What did you rate it? And this next book has been on my TBR for years. I have been so patiently waiting for the audiobook to drop, and I just got the best surprise on Instagram the other day that Bone Island is finally gonna come out via audio on October 9th. I am so freaking excited. Nicole Fiorina is one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. I just love her writing. It is so descriptive and evokes such emotion. Like, I have never fallen in love with characters the way I do with Nicole Fiorina's characters. The Stay With Me series is one of my favorite series of all time. Ollie Masters is my top book boyfriend. So I know this is gonna be a 5-star read. So this is set in the same world as Hollow Heathens, which is also, I believe, in the Weeping Hollow series. So I honestly don't know very much about what this book is about. I am sure it is gonna be filled with witchy and gothic vibes. The first book, Hollow Heathens, was kind of like a Romeo and Juliet-esque witchy book where we're following this girl that ends up having an attraction to this masked stranger that she's been told to stay away from, but she just feels compelled to be with him, and it's their love story. So I have a feeling this is gonna have a similar vibe, and I just cannot wait. So as soon as that audiobook drops, I will be starting Bone Island, and I just cannot wait. And next up is Phantasma. So this is a dark, gothic, spicy romance. I will admit I've already started this. However, I don't think I'm gonna finish it by the end of September, which is why it is on this TBR. Now, I will say the gothic vibes in this book are perfection. It is so creepy. So in the story, we are following a necromancer, and in order to save her sister, she has to enter this deadly competition. And I believe there's 9 different levels that she has to go through. And it's a little bit like Caraval, or it kind of gives me like those vibes, but overall, I am loving this. So I'm pretty sure this is gonna end up being a 5-star read, and perfect if you're looking for a really creepy read this October. And the next 2 books are both monster romances. So admittedly, I don't read a ton of monster romance, but when I do, it tends to be in October. So one of the books is Luxuria. I've had this audiobook for quite a while, so I feel like October is the perfect time to get to it. But in this story, we are following a monster hunter who has an affinity for monsters. And when it comes out that she does have a growing attraction to monsters, she's essentially kicked out of her like monster hunting organization. However, she ends up seeing a chance at redemption when she becomes the bride of a monster, and I believe it is their love story. So it just sounds really unique, really fun. Once again, I've had the audiobook for quite some time, and I am very excited to finally pick it up. And the other monster romance I want to check out is A Soul to Keep, which is part of the Duskwalker Bride series. So I've also had this audiobook for quite a while. I think I started this but never ended up finishing it. but we're following this girl named Rhea who ends up being cast out by her village and actually offered as a sacrifice to a monster. And instead of being devoured by this monster, I believe there is a romance that happens between Rhea and the monster. I also think the monster might be kind of like a cinnamon roll type character where he's really looking for just companionship. So it sounds like it'll be really cute. And I am, once again, very, very intrigued and excited to check this book out. And last up is Haven by Claire Kent. So this is a post-apocalyptic short story. We are following these two people that after a catastrophe and the world has suddenly changed, they end up finding solace in each other despite all of the violence that is going on around them. So I will say I have really enjoyed every single book I've read by Claire Kent. Unfortunately, a lot of her books are not available via audio, but her Kindled series is releasing starting in October. So as soon as that audiobook drops, I will be reading Haven. Now, I love her writing because of how real her writing is. She does not shy away from some of the more gruesome details, and I just know I'm gonna absolutely love the Kindled series. All right, guys, those are some of the books I plan on reading in October. Please let me know down in the comments below, what book are you most looking forward to reading in October? And I'd like to say a special thank you to my Paladin protectors, Amanda, Erin, Leslie, Lotta, and Kat. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. And I said this already, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week. Bye.